Whoa, I didn't get the ROG Ally X. I got the ROG Ally Z1 Extreme. I spent many times of my day, many hours, Googling, researching, finding out what would be the best handheld console for me. And honestly, it was very tough. In fact, I didn't even decide until the moment I left the house, really, what I was gonna get. I had to get external opinions because I was really struggling. The amount of discourse online is insane. It's very controversial. This ROG Ally Z1 Extreme is coming at £599 in the UK, but I thought that was too much money because the ROG Ally X is, what is it, £799, and then you've got other products like the Steam Deck OLED, which is more like 500 if you want to get 1TB, or it could be £300. And obviously you've got things like the Switch and other consoles. It was feeling too expensive for what it was offering because the battery life on this is very low. It's only about 2 hours max really that you can play on it, and you only get 500GB on this specific one. So I'm thinking to myself, if I spend £599 on this, it wasn't feeling like it would be worth it, honestly. But I found a deal where on John Lewis, they're selling it in the UK for about £483. There's £100, £110 difference. So I was like, you know what? That's a doable deal.
Crazy. 2 days after I purchased this, it's already gone up in price to £599. So I dodged the bullet. You should too, definitely.
Man bought the thing, and honestly, I was so scared picking it up. The display model was looking a bit tattered and it was a bit laggy. It was not giving me the confidence at all. I came with my wife. We were getting a bit uncertain, I think. I don't know if it was just me. It wasn't promising, but I had to just take the plunge because I thought, you know what, a display unit, it doesn't always replicate the real thing. The main takeaway for me, the size is very large. If I compare this to my Switch, compared to like the way you hold it, it's a lot thicker, a lot heavier than the Switch. So even though they're similar sizes, actually like, it just feels like a big block in your hands in comparison to the Switch, even though they're basically the same. They're actually the same.
They're not.
They're actually, they are, look.
It's longer.
It's a little bit longer.
And it's fatter.
It's just fatter. It's mainly the fatness of it that makes it so big. The way I'm describing it is, it's great at home, but it's scary outside. Because when I'm taking this on the streets with me, I'm scared a little bit. I'm a bit worried that I'm gonna drop it. Other people will be worried that it's gonna get taken. Because it's such a big, like, obvious machine, and it's white as well. You have to think about that. Like, it's very obvious. Everything about this machine is obvious. If it gets dirty, if you eat around it, this white, you know, it's gonna need a clean. It's gonna be obvious. So there's a lot about the machine that's like very clear that it's a gaming machine. Even the fact that I've turned them off, but there's RGB lights. What am I trying to say? RGB lights on the controller itself, so that there's bright lights around the sticks. I turned them off because I'm not trying to be that obvious. I don't really like it. I don't see the point. Even though the size is what it is, it actually feels really good in the hands. It feels solid. It definitely feels like a gaming controller, which is really good. I usually struggle playing shooting games on like the Switch, but playing Call of Duty Black Ops 6 on this, it felt calm. It felt like I was playing it on a real console. Because I'm usually a controller guy, like an Xbox controller, PS5 controller. That's how I play, so I feel comfortable. But on here, it didn't feel too different, actually. The only thing I would say is the sticks, the joysticks are a lot lighter on this console. Like something about the sticks on this, there's not much resistance. Whereas on other consoles, there's a huge amount of resistance when you like are moving these sticks. So, but I got used to it quite quickly. It's not as bad as I thought. I guess the second thing I would say would be that games are looking amazing on this. I haven't got an OLED screen. One thing I saw on Reddit was a guy was like, listen, if you get this, just don't bother looking at OLED screen and you'll be fine. Honestly, going from a Nintendo Switch to this, everything just looks so sharp. It looks really good to play on here. Like, honestly, like, I like the screen. I really like the screen. And, you know, I think it comes down to like, do I really want to pay bare money for an OLED screen? Just a screen that I haven't even experienced yet. Is the experience going to change the game that much for me? I don't know. I don't think so. And so I'm going to live in the satisfaction that for what I'm getting here, this is doing the job for me. I like the screen. Or thirdly, the range of games on here, it makes me feel like a child again. You know when you're young and it's like, you're just experiencing life. You're looking at all these games in the game shop and you're like, oh, I should play this, I should play that, I should play this, I should play that. That's how it feels when you have this. Because everything is just in your hands. You have all these options. And obviously, if you're like me, you've been building up a library of PC games for free anyway, with the Epic Game Store, GOG, Games Pass. You've got this library of like cheap and free games that you're just collecting. So when you like have them all on the one system like this, going from console, it's like a sweet shop. Like you don't know what to play. Do you know what I mean? I know that I've got my favorite games that I'm gonna play, and it's very encouraging for me to actually like finish those games, which actually goes into my next point, which is the storage space. Obviously, this one only comes with 512 gigabytes, which I've seen a lot of complaints online that this is really small, and there's been a big like talk about the ROG Ally X and its 1 terabyte hard drive as like a main reason as to why it's so amazing. But you can do well with 512 gigabytes. After day 2, I feel pretty certified in my decision making of what games I'm gonna play. I know I'm not gonna play more than 5 games in a week. I know I'm not gonna do that. And even if I was, I've got a PS5 or Xbox. So it doesn't really make sense for me to have a million games on this one device. I feel like a lot of people are hoarding games that they're not even playing. Like they're putting a whole emulation library on there. They're putting everything there. And it's like, fam, like, are you actually gonna play these games or not? Maybe you are, but for me, I'm not. I'm not gonna do all that. So for me, I've kept it simple. If you can see what I've got here, I've got what? Destiny 2, which is not even installed actually, but that's like my favorite game, so it's in my favorites list. I've got Apex there, I know I'm gonna play it with Quizim later. I know I've got Persona 3 Reload, because that's my RPG that I'm going to complete. That's hundreds of hours. I need to focus on that, otherwise it's going to be taking long to finish. I've got more Persona games. Persona 4 Arena Ultimax. That's like my favourite fighting game from young, so now I can play it online as my online game. And I got The Witcher 3, which I purchased on the day I got this. And I completed The Witcher 3, but I've been stalling on completing the DLC for it. So now I can go through the whole game on this and finally complete the DLCs. So that's all I need. If I'm on the train, this is all I need. Honestly, like, you're not needing all of it. And this is 512 gigabytes, and I still have about 130 gigs to spare. So if I wanted to, I could go pick up Electro or one of those like small indie games that you can just flick through, pass the time with. It's not that crazy. Do you know what I mean? I don't think a terabyte is that necessary yet. But this is my first impression, so who knows what I'll be saying in a month, 2, 3, 6 months from now. Maybe I'll be itching to upgrade. I mean, I do have intentions to upgrade. Black Friday is coming up, 29th of November or last Friday of November. I'm gonna look out for a SSD, maybe a 1 terabyte one, and I'll open up the machine and upgrade it probably just because I can. But suddenly, I don't feel like I need to do that. I thought I would, but I'm starting to think maybe I don't need to spend that money. But if it's Black Friday, it might be worth the upgrades just because you might not get any deals like that again. So customizability on this is also fun. I mean, look at my screen. It's literally a Nintendo Switch. This is optional. You don't get this out of the box. There's an installer called Play Night that I got today, and it's got all these different like themes on it. And they have a bunch of ones that kind of emulate different consoles that you play anyway. So I've got a PS5 one, I've got an Xbox one. Let me try and change it now. I can switch it to this one that's like based around like Netflix and streaming services. So that there's all these different kind of ways you can customize your experience. So here's one here. This is the Ubiquity, and it kind of gives you that Netflix vibe. Don't know if it's gonna load up well. But yeah, I've got Persona 3 and it gives you that kind of Netflixy. Let's see if it opens. Yeah, it's cool. It's alright. It's a bit too small for my liking in terms of the text. But it's fun, do you know what I'm saying? And I think the customizability is what sets this apart from the other devices. Obviously, you can get a normal console. And you're locked in, you know what I'm saying? If you're playing PlayStation, you've got to use the PlayStation dashboard. If you've got Xbox dashboard. Even Steam Deck, I don't know how customizable it is. But obviously using the OS, I'm sure you can upgrade it and stuff and change it a lot. But I like the fact that on Windows you can do a whole bunch of stuff to like change the way you experience the product. So honestly, and it can get complex. You can get really complex with it because it's Windows. But that's also a negative. Because it's Windows, uh, there's issues. On day one, I've had this thing not crashing, but freezing. Like I'll press the restart button or the off button and it just won't turn on. As in, it will just like be stuck on like the shutdown screen and it will just be loading the shutdown for like 10 minutes. And I'm getting worried. This is like normal Windows stuff. If I get my Windows computer right, that's what it would do. If I try and get an update and I just leave it, it will take forever just to restart or shut down. And it will make me think, oh, should I like force it to close? I've tried it already. Like the amount of times it's like taking ages to do something that it says it's doing. And I just think, should I just hold that force? But I don't want to mash up the Windows. So luckily, I've restrained myself and eventually it would do what it's meant to do, which is shut off. But Windows is scary because it doesn't tell you what it's doing a lot of the time. When it's struggling, it doesn't tell you it's struggling. It just struggles, and all of a sudden, your whole computer is lagging and glitching. And like that's just how Windows is. It's not like having a MacBook, which is very, very different. It gives you warnings. It gives you very clear signs of when there's an issue. This, nah. And that's like the scary part. But I have a feeling that despite that, once you've got it set up like I have now, obviously I've got my little Switch theme here, I've got my games downloaded. I'm hoping that it'll just be a thing where on a normal day, I just have to turn it on, automatically open this up, open my game of choice, play my game, and when I'm done, I just press the off button and I'm happy. Do you know what I mean? That's what I'm hoping for. I won't be fiddling with Windows as much as I am right now because I'm new to the device and I'm trying to get everything that I want installed. Do you know what I'm saying? But yeah, that's the price I think I'm willing to pay if that is the price. I'm hoping it doesn't get worse than this. I'm not using the SD card slot. I've heard rumors that this thing here, scary. If you put a micro SD inside of here, there's rumors that, or experiences and anecdotes that the device will literally melt your micro SD and you will have a broken SD card and you don't want that. So I'm not trying to like risk it, so I'm just not using it, which is why I also said I do think 512 gigabytes is fine anyway. For me to add the extra thing only for it to maybe get burnt alive, I ain't trying to do that anyway. So I'm leaving this out, but I might get an SSD and open up the system and upgrade it through here anyway. But yeah, I feel like that's all, in terms of like the things that I've cared about, honestly, the only thing I have left to say really, transferring this to the computer, like doing not remote, but connecting it to a dock and then having it connect to a monitor externally, it's okay. It's not the best transition. It's not as smooth as you'd like. Maybe going from like a Switch to the TV, just quick. It's the same screen, do you know what I'm saying? On this is a bit different. Going from here to a monitor, having to use Windows while like the screen on here is like scaling up. It don't look good. It doesn't feel as natural. Do you know what I mean? You got to do a bit of finicking there, but it's okay. It's still Windows. Once you've got it in order, it's just normal computer mode. Playing games on this have run well as well. I haven't really run into any issues with the games that I've chosen to play. Persona 3 Reload runs well, surprisingly. It's not out here glitching. It looks a bit sharp, I'll say that, but I think there's something I can do in the settings to do something about that. Witcher 3 runs amazingly. I think I'm getting like 50 frames per second, like 40 to 50 frames, which actually looks good. I'm not gonna lie. Like I wouldn't have thought, I'm missing the other 10 frames for 60. It actually looks good, and I haven't really got any intention to improve it so that it goes up to 120 anyway. Yeah, the game's run well on here still. I haven't pushed it too much by playing anything crazy. I played Black Ops 6 on the cloud. The cloud gameplay was I like it. It looked good, right? Innit?
It did.
Yeah, it looked like it was the console. It was just the buffering.
Good.
Yeah. So honestly, you can play cloud games on this quite well. I had an issue where I played on my 15, and games would just not really look like very crisp. They will really look not good. And I don't know if it's the phone, but somehow maybe it's something in my head. But playing it on this, it just felt like the connection was just better. But yeah, man, I'm happy with it. Controls are also good to finalize. the D-pad, people complain about the D-pad a lot. I like the D-pad. It reminds me of the Xbox 360, which was one of my favorite D-pads ever. I know people didn't like it, but that's how I got into fighting games like Street Fighter, Tekken, Persona 4 Arena. So honestly, like for me, this D-pad is pretty good still. It's not too bad. It feels good to me. But then again, apparently the X is better. I haven't got the X, so what do I know? But for what I'm doing, I'm not trying to be too I'm not trying to yearn for more right now because I'm actually happy with this. So yeah, man, that's my first impressions of the ROG Ally Z1 Extreme. That's my experience so far. I'll see you soon.